All right. Well, here we are again with another exciting episode of the Reverse Web3 Comic Con live stream this weekend. Very excited to have this conversation and to talk to these amazing people assembled here in our Avengers of sneak peeks at projects that are coming up on Macroverse next year. Going to be a really awesome collection of things that we're going to talk to you about, and a few things that you'll get to see a little bit about. So some of this will be a little visual, some of it will be a little talking, but all of it will give you a sense of kind of some of the things that we've been working on behind the scenes and some of what you're going to see coming next in the next wave of projects. So before we get into the specific projects, let's just do a quick round of introductions. You probably know me by now, but I'm one of the co-founders of Macroverse. Amba, I'm going to just jump right to you. Tell us a little bit about you, and don't worry about introducing the series just yet. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Of course. So hi, everyone. My name is Amba. I am currently in university. I graduate this year, 3. I study at Emily Carr University of Art and Design, and currently based in Vancouver. I was born in New York, but I've been in Vancouver for almost a decade. And a little bit more about me. I had an internship with Macroverse last summer, and I entered this community and to met Evan and Adam and all these, and I'm really grateful for being here. So thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. You are breaking up or out of sync a little bit. I think we got everything that you said, but while we go through, it might not be a bad idea to just log out and come back in, just to see if we can get you back in the matrix properly. You're kind of out of sync, so just to make sure we can hear you when we're talking more about what you're working on. Alex, I'm going to jump to you. We just saw you in the last panel. We were talking about publishing, but give us a little introduction on you, and then maybe pass the baton to Matt to, again, not quite talk about the series yet, but just a little bit about you guys and kind of where you're coming from.
Sure thing. Yeah. Thanks for having us on, Evan. My name's Alex Robnett. I am a writer, currently with our Matt and I's creative imprint, kind of like our idea engine called Dark Web Comics. We've been at this for a few years now, successfully raised a few Kickstarters for our story digital pools, which is coming to Macroverse, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And just kind of, I got really lucky meeting Matt. He's also a local guy. We both live in Connecticut, so not only do we get to meet over Zoom and conversations like this, but we actually get to meet in person, which is really cool, and it actually helps us out quite a bit when we're creating cool stuff. So so I'll just hand it off to Matt.
Hi everybody. Evan, thanks for having us. I'm Matt Stevens. Art schools. My day job is an art teacher for high school kiddos. So I teach art, I talk about art, I make art, and it's sort of all kind of to my day. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, Alex, Google, what was it, Alex, 3-4 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, pre-pandemic, pitched me an idea over the phone, and it was like, yeah, that's what I want to be doing. So.
Awesome. Matt, you're a little out of sync for me too. Is it just me, or are you guys seeing that as well?
A little bit.
So I think, sorry to say, I think you're stuck in your own digital pool here as well. So I think we got that as well. But if you maybe also log out and log back in, that might fix it. We had that on another panel. All righty. Let's throw over to Barrington. That's not Barrington.
That is definitely not Barrington. Barrington has hair. And
Wait a second. We're having some technical problems here. Good times in the live stream. There we go. Barrington.
Not that I wasn't happy with my avatar. Hi, I'm Barrington. I'm the writer on one of the projects that will be revealed. I have a background in physical production for events and films and commercials, and about 10 or so years ago, I made the pivot to being a writer, which means like half the time I am a teacher, which makes me a lifelong learner. And I've been watching this weekend avidly because the Web3 space is pretty new to me, but I love jumping into places where I get to learn new words and vocabulary and systems. So thanks a lot. I'm thrilled to be here.
Wag me, Barrington. Wag me. Yes. Tiny, how you doing, man?
Oh.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Good.
But
Sorry, can you hear me? Am I out of sync like everyone else?
Oh, you are a little bit out of sync like everybody else. That's so weird.
Oh no. I'm not even wearing a headset.
Well, okay, maybe you're a little better now, but just tell us a little bit about you.
Oh man. It's collector gone wrong.
Good answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I started out, my first NFT was GSA, and about the time I got into Galactic Secret Agency is about the time that Ronan took over, and Eben came in, and I was introduced to all of them just by participating in the community and falling in love with the project and what was happening, and that's kind of how I was introduced to Eben and Max Phoenix Ramal, who I was hoping would be in here as well. 9th level. I know he's listening. But so we started to do in GSA the oh, that's painful. We started to do the community lore building, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. I moved through the senior writer process, and we did the lore, and that kind of moved into some more I guess complex talks and stuff, and we started doing a little bit more towards the comic, and that's when I got into Macroverse and so on. It just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And I think like what I do now is I just as a collector, I just dive deep into Web3. I'm so passionate. Eben and Adam and everybody have just brought out this whole passion for writing I didn't know that I had through this whole experience and this journey. So I think by kind of being like one of the test lab rats with GSA, I've become part of this what I call is more like a family than a project or anything like that. And it's just grown to be something that I absolutely love and am probably just as passionate about as these guys, even though I've not been there since the beginning. I'm just absolutely grateful to be here.
You've been there since the beginning of the part that has grown into what it is now. That's awesome. And Hoyt, thanks for jumping in. Hey. Tell us a little bit about you.
My name's Hoyt Silva. I am a freelance illustrator and comic book artist. I've been doing comics for 10 years, mostly independent comics. I've worked for a ton of companies, and I am having a lot of fun developing and working on the project that I'm working on now for Macroverse.
All right.
I am just having a ball with it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna kind of just dive right in, and I prepared a handful of slides. So some of these will be recognizable, some of them will not be. There's a couple where we aren't showing visuals just yet, so we'll circle back around to that. There are a couple where you will see a couple of pictures of things in progress. But we'll kind of just give a little sneak preview about kind of what are these stories. A lot of the spirit of this weekend has been about let's get people to fall in love with these worlds and these stories. And so this is all stuff that's coming over the course of sometime next year, mostly more towards the beginning of next year. But we want you to start to get a sense of some of the stuff that we're working on and the amazing people that are working on them. And Rommel has joined us. So before we dive into that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Hello.
How's it going?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's fun to actually be on camera for once. I started out. Hold on, my mic is acting weird. All right,
that's all right. We can hear you. You're in sync.
All right. My story is not too different than everybody else's. I started off trying to run my own media company in my early 20s. Failed. Tried to join the military. Did that for a little bit. Then went from that to managing people at pizza shops. And somewhere along the way, it occurred to me that I'd been writing stories for the last 20 years. So I should probably try doing that. So I got my degree from Full Sail in writing for entertainment. And I started writing short stories. And now I get the opportunity to work on a comic book, which would be the GSA.
Yes, one of many. Awesome. Very, very cool. Well, then let's dive in. We're actually going to start with this mysterious GSA that we keep hearing so much about. So, Rommel, you, just to give a little recap, one of the things I love about this is, we got invited to, this is kind of part of the magic of how this space works. We got invited to come in and, participate in this community through Ronan the Collector, who was on some panels yesterday. There was some drama about this project, which we don't necessarily need to get into in the time that we have today. But basically, we got to come in and kind of take this collection of existing characters and then together figure out, where did these characters come from? What world do they live in? What are the rules of this world? And so it's a little bit of a reverse engineer from a lot of the ways that projects get put together, where we kind of had a sense of this collection that wasn't necessarily conceived with a big story world behind it, and then we got to kind of build the story world that this collection of these characters lived in. And so Rommel was kind of a integral part of that. Tiny was a integral part of that, and we landed on what I think is this incredible kind of playground and framework to now build the series out. And out of that experience, Rommel kind of came directly from the community and is now the lead writer on the core series that we're in production on now. So I will shut up, and Rommel, why don't you tell us a little bit about the story and the world and kind of what makes you excited about this series and kind of what we're doing with it heading into next year.
Okay. Well, the GSA it started out, like you said, it was just a PFP project that got kind of picked up, and we sat there and we started where everyone else did, let's just make Star Wars. And it was well, no, let's not make Star Wars. Let's do something different. So we ended up working through a world where these aliens had encountered an ancient evil and had caused havoc in their solar system. And from that, we developed these robots that they have unique powers and abilities, and they work with the agents traveling throughout the galaxy, trying to keep the ancient evil at bay. It's it seems like a simple concept, but the possibilities of the storytelling, that's what's exciting to me, because you can tell the story of a veteran agent and a young agent traveling. You can tell the story of a couple of armored soldiers trapped on a planet. There's You can even tell the story of a prison escapee that happens to have an alien stuck in his head. Like there's so many opportunities that we can tell from the different stories. So that's what's exciting to me.
Yeah, no, very cool. I agree. And the other thing, which, to me was so fun in figuring out kind of the rules of the world and the structure of this is that, at least to me, it kind of became an opportunity to think about, most of the worlds and stories that we tell, they do have some kind of human-ish, protagonists in them. And so, we're generally, even in something like Star Wars, we still have generally, it's a human populated world, even if we don't call them humans. And then there are kind of aliens around. Whereas in this case, like these are these different, races and cultures of aliens that populate this, solar system, and they have, different cultures and different relationships. And we've got some allegory in there for kind of the conflict that, we see in the human world played across different planets as opposed to different nations, and literally kind of coming to the brink of destruction, and how do they, solve that and kind of move past that. And so, there's a lot of opportunity to kind of talk about human emotion and conflict, but do it kind of through the lens that's almost slightly separated from, traditional, stories that feel more directly related, to humanity, by putting these other interesting kind of characters at the front and center of it. So to me, that's one of the things I think is pretty interesting about where we can play in this universe. And at the same time, as you can see by the artwork, which happens to just be colored by Matt Stevens as well, who's here with us. It's gorgeous artwork. You can also see that there's a lot of opportunity for fun and adventure along the way. So we're getting a lot of mileage out of where we can go in this universe of the GSA. So coming to Macroverse in 2023. Moving on from there at the moment, let's get into the digital pools. And how can you avoid the pun of diving into the digital pools? So Alex or Matt, do you guys want to tee up a little bit? Like, what is this world? Why is it so cool? Why should we fall in love with the digital pools as fans of awesome stuff?
Yeah, sure thing. So digital pools is a story that I created almost 10 years ago at this point. It started with this idea that thinking about the exponential increase in technology and just how things were getting closer to this singularity, right, where we'll be living in a computer realm. I just had this crazy idea, like, well, what are people going to be transferring like back and forth between one another? Like what is that experience going to be like? Like how could this work? And so I just started brainstorming, and I would jot down ideas, and lo and behold, I came up with a story, but I was too scared to show it to anyone. But the first person I showed it to was Matt. I finally was like, you know what, I'm just going to go for this. I think this is a really neat idea. And so Matt and I got together and we kind of fleshed out more the storyline. So really, the digital pools world drops us into a near future, not an apocalyptic future by any stretch of the mean, but it's optimistic because there's advancements in technology, refined nuclear fusion exists. People are interested in kind of obtaining as much information as possible thanks to a decentralized internet. But now, on the cusp of all this technological advancement, there's this development called the Exodus, which is this visceral simulation where you can, or the way you access that is you bathe yourself in this device called a digital pool, which connects through alkaline fluid to the nanomachines running within your body, and it just launches you into this, hyper realistic realm where you can do anything, become anyone you want, create anything you want, but also succumb to the darkest desires of people who are also on the other side of that connection. And so we follow a budding but nascent developing community within the Exodus. And we kind of see how this technology grows over the course of the story. And we basically follow these contractors who are investigating these acts of mind crime, which are these dark desires that people are committing atrocities, subjugating people to these darkest thoughts within this simulated world. And the government is like, well, what's going on here? We know this technology exists; it's bringing in a lot of money, but it seems rather dangerous and rather unchecked. And so they fund this program across the major metropolitan areas of the country. And we are in the hub of simulation technology, which just happens to be in New England, in Boston. And so the story sets in Boston and follows Lieutenant Detective Julio La Rosa and his contractor, who just happens to be a founder of the simulation technology called the Exodus. And so they kind of work their way around these wild events in the story, and they stumble upon this rather corrupted network that's kind of seeped into this new technology, as well as bringing up skeletons of Rico's past and those he was connected to during the technology's creation 4 or 5 years ago. So we're really excited about this. Like I work in blockchain like full time, and so I actually work on the investigative side, helping catch bad guys. And so for a while I've heard like true crime stories. I've also always been in love with buddy cop movies like Lethal Weapon, and love True Detective, and I love just a hard like slow burn detective story, and I love computers and technology. And so I think all this kind of converges into a story that people are going to be excited about. And the bonus is that my story may be good, but Matt's art is like 10 times more impressive and like brings it to life. The colors really pop with this, and we've been publishing for a while, like I said, for the last 3 years, but man, I really think Macroverse is going to help launch us into the stratosphere, because all these things, like I said, all these things converge into one, like the inspirations for the story. And ever since Evan, Matt, and Adam and I have been like talking about like working together, we're all just like on the same wavelength about possibilities of what they're offering on the platform and how that hooks into the world of digital pools. Yep. So Matt Stevens, you feel free to jump in.
Just double down on I remember our first conversation about this a couple of years when I got off the phone with you, that if somebody commits a mind crime and they're in this digital world, this simulated world, and everything feels real, and your experience of being a victim, whatever the crime is, and you come, did it really happen? In your mind it happened, but you wake up and you're, whatever you weren't, whatever the crime was. So that idea really stuck with me. The idea of prosecuting something like that just seemed very interesting to me. So also, what really hooked me to Alex's story is feels very plausible, and it almost feels like future fiction more. Whether it's nanomachines running through your body and connecting to an alkaline flume, other way of connecting to a completely immersive, other world, very beginning stages of that with, augmented reality and virtual reality just really resonate with me. It's, I'm a sci-fi and futurist buff. So yeah, and I just, this is the type of stuff I like to draw. It was like mana to me.
It's awesome, Matt. You're still cutting in and out a little bit,
Yeah.
but I think we're getting most of it, and I think that what I can say for both of you guys, and this is what I think is so cool hearing you talk about it, is like, if there's someone that knows the world that they're playing in, it is clearly the two of you. When you talk, it's like being able to say, connecting to alkaline fluid specifically, like, this is a world that's been lived in over the course of
we have conversations like, okay, how could you create that much alkaline fluid? Oh, well, funny story. Like they recycle seawater, and there's a whole industry, side industries here. So like I've gone down plenty of mental rabbit holes here, but again, I think with what you guys have built, it's going to help us connect and just let that story loose. And I can't wait to release the World Bible and the Story Bible to help generate creativity amongst any other folks who are interested in the tale as well.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I am excited for that. And just as a quick side note, the other cool thing for people to see as Digital Pools rolls out is we'll start with some new material, some adapting of the existing material, and then kind of moving forward into the next phase of the project, kind of being specifically purpose built for the platform. So I think it's going to be fun to kind of see that evolution as well. All right, coming up from there. So let's talk about Sal Bones. And to kick us off, this actually Bennett wasn't able to join us, so I want to give a little context. So Sal Bones came to us as Bennett, who is the owner of Sal Bones. As we got to know each other, one of the earliest conversations we had was him saying, hey, I'm really into this project called Deadheads. Deadheads is the first NFT project to create an animated series based on their characters, fully formed, 6 episodes of 3D animation that you can go watch on YouTube right now. So, they did the thing. They made the thing. And Bennett's one of the biggest collectors of the Deadheads collection. Just love them. Something about that really resonated with him. And there's this one character of his, which is just it's a deadhead with a black fedora. And he named this guy Sal Bones and just couldn't stop thinking about this story for Sal that had, yes, maybe connected to Deadheads, but also really formed the basis for its own entire unique mythology and story world, and this whole other place that it could go. And as we started talking about that, he and Adam and Ricky and I would kind of get together and start thinking about, well, what would the rules of this world be? And after a few of those conversations, there really is something here. And not only is it a fascinating and interesting concept, but also one of the things that happens in the NFT space is there's this concept that you can take these characters that live in a specific collection and create your own derivative material, your own unique expression with that character. And so we actually thought this would be a really fun, a fun project, both from the point of view that it's a story we want to tell and that we want to help tell and support in telling, but also this promise of being able to take something from an origin point that didn't have this in mind and now transform it into something unique in its own right, felt like a really fun place to play. And so all those elements combined, bring us into this world of Sal Bones. And since Bennett's not here, let me introduce Barrington to give us a little more about the world. And, as she's been diving into this, I must also say, we came to Barrington with, I thought, some pretty decent ideas about kind of what the basic concepts of this world and story might be. But, this is why it's so great working with other talented people, because what you did is took that basket of ideas and went okay, yeah, it's here. Now let's bring it up here. That's kind of where we are now. So give us a little more about the world and kind of where we're headed with this.
Yeah, those are very kind words. Thank you. Given that there was a lot of work done on this before I came on board. So the concept really that I think was there when I came in and that we're sticking with is the idea that Sal Bones is this mobster who dies and wakes up deceased and ends up exploiting his mobster skills in this kind of soul-based economy of the underworld. And his kind of mission is to basically buy his way back to the land of the living so that he can rescue his son from something that he perceives is dangerous. And so then there's been it's a really fun world. We have this idea of different boroughs of the underworld based on the 7 deadly sins, and he meets a lot of interesting people and gets into some scrapes, and I think it just balances the fun of the underworld with kind of some bigger philosophical questions about what we give up, what we have to hang on to, what's important to us. It's a really great sandbox to dig around and build some castles in, having great fun. And of course, Hoyt is making everything look amazing, which makes it even funner.
Indeed, that's a perfect segue. So Hoyt, you came into this, into the project, a little more fully formed, but now it's up to you to go, okay, here are these ideas. What does it look like?
yeah, that has been, you guys have given me the grace to be able to like step in and have some fun with that, and I can't thank you enough, because I'm having a tremendous amount of fun with it. It's I was on board when Evan approached me about it and asked if I'd be interested to tell the story on the basic premise that they had already laid out, much I'm sure like how they had approached Barrington. And I was in at that point because I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, like he said, I like this basket. There's a lot of really cool, awesome stuff in this basket. What a fun playground. Like, let's have some fun. And then came along Barrington, who literally, yes, took it to another level and really like solidified, grounded it. I think a lot of the ideas that she wants to put into play for the story and the characters and sort of their interaction and sort of the evolution of Sal, right? And sort of where he's going to go with everything is going to be really strong. And that's something that I'm really excited about. I tend to really like stories that are character driven, have like a fair amount of like, really gripping drama, and but also have like the ability to be silly at times if they want to. So I think that's like the awesome part about having that springboard of what the original Deadheads sort of like looked like, and where we're taking it is really fun. I can't say enough just how much I'm enjoying what I'm doing and just the way that we're taking it. So yeah, that's I'm super excited once we get around to showing some people some stuff. So.
Won't be long. We learned earlier the answer is soon.
Yes, soon, very soon.
Well, Bennett just arrived. So Bennett, we've been telling your story. Why don't you tell your story yourself for a minute?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm late, guys. I had the time zone difference, confusion, and whatever. But yeah, just love being here with you guys. Great to see you, Hoyt and Barrington, and everybody. And the Salbones logo up there just makes me smile ear to ear every time I see it. But yeah, I mean, my version of the story, and I'm not sure what you guys already went through, but Deadheads was like the NFT project that really turned the light bulb on for me, that there's something cool here other than just, let's buy a JPEG and hope we can flip it for more. Partially because I'm just kind of obsessed with like Halloween type stuff, spooky stuff, whatever. But also, this idea of sort of essentially owned IP or distributed IP, you could call it, where there is an overarching body of intellectual property, but then the ability for a person to own a character and maybe not use the Deadhead's name, but use the likeness and come up with creative new things for it. And I thought that was fun. But then when I saw the NFT that ultimately evolved into Sal, I just thought he was the coolest one. I thought there's something here with this. And I immediately took hold to this guy, and I thought, I know who he is. I know where he's been. I think I know maybe a little bit about where he's going. And so I started kind of, I don't know, cosplaying as him a little bit, just in Discord and on Twitter and whatever. Just, I think like 11 different artists have done their variation of his likeness now, just for fun, and so people seem to gravitate around him too, and the communities are sort of rallied around him as like an unofficial mascot of the Deadheads. And so then from there was lucky enough to just through pure serendipity meet the Macroverse guys, and then somewhere along the way in our conversations, I said, hey guys, maybe this is crazy. You tell me, but I know you're working with NFT collections and stuff, but like, what about just working with a person, like someone like me, on just a character, so we can be one of the first to do something with this idea that, distributed IP is a thing, and then, shared who I thought Sal was. And luckily you guys, the story, or not story, but just like the kernel of a story resonated with you. And then we spent some time together over the next several months when we could, building that out a little bit further together. And ultimately, knowing that we would need to bring a writer like Barrington on to turn it into a full-fledged story, and naturally an artist like Hoyt to visually bring it to life too. And so it's been awesome to be able to start with what I thought was just a crazy idea, and now it's happening, and it's like a total comic nerd myself, it's just kind of a dream come true to, looking back on it, it's almost unbelievable that all the steps I just laid out, this led to that, led to that, led to that. And I think it's just one of the cool things about this space that can even happen. So I'm so excited to see it, come about. Yeah.
Here we are. Yeah.
It's also, I think it is one of the fun things about producing, kind of doing it this way and producing comics as opposed to film or TV and traditional stuff. And Barrington, I know you've gone through this as well. It's you write a pilot or you write a story and you hope it gets turned into a pilot, and the chances are just 1,000 to 1 against anything you write actually ending up on screen. So you put all this work into something, and then the chances of actually seeing it on screen are slender. Whereas when you write a comic and you get a great artist on board and you get it clever, suddenly it's like, oh shit, in a month's time, I'm starting to see stuff. And this is what I've done. My written word is now popping up like this. It's just incredibly exciting. And it's this kind of visceral thing that I know I enjoy. And Barrington, I hope you are too.
No, I'm having a great time. And yes, just knowing that what I'm doing is already moving through the pipeline, and that Hoyt is working on it, is like that path to production is thrilling, coming from slower traditional pipelines.
Coming from glacial, yes.
Yeah. I think the fun too with comics is like, we can be a tight knit team. We are not like 100 cogs in a big machine. We are like 3, 4, 5 people, and we all have sort of our input, and we get to work closely together. And I think that's like one of the most magical, fun things about it. Is that like that we each get to like really, I don't know, we get to become like some sort of small family for a little bit, and it was while we figure this all out. And, I think it's awesome to work with someone incredible like Barrington, who, what she gave so far in all of her writing is like, I know if I do exactly what she's written, we're going to have something awesome. So like my job now is like try to figure out how to make that even more awesome, So like we said earlier, like she took, Bennett's idea was here, and then Barrington took it here. So now I'm trying my best to just inch it up a little bit more if I can, So,
and I think it's so cool too to have that family, right? Like you described. But other than the exception of like Adam and Eben, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, no one else has actually met in person yet. Is that true?
Right. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So it's just neat what we're capable of now with technology and stuff,
Yeah.
And as a quick aside, you said you liked Halloween stuff, right? So that's funny that you love Halloween stuff, because my birthday is the day before Halloween, so I also love Halloween stuff. I didn't know that, so there you go. That's a little tidbit. I love Halloween stuff by default, So.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
Well, as we go from talking about a small team becoming a family, we're going to shift to talking about the next series, which is called Misophobics. And I got to say, I thought about putting a couple of your drawings in here to show people, but then I thought a little bit better of it, because I think when people start to see this world, I just want to give it a little more, a little more presentation than just, showing a couple of the things that you've done, because it's so singular in its expression and in its vision. It's so you, having gotten to know you, that, it's the other part, it's the other side of the comics and graphic novel equation, where, this is the Paul Thomas Anderson, Quentin Tarantino, like singular, take what's me and put it on the page in some way. And I can't wait for people to see that. But instead of showing them that yet, let me just ask you to talk a little bit about the story and where it came from, as much as you're comfortable kind of talking about that.
Oh, and thank you
except you.
It's so cool. It's so cool to see like the comic and then like world epics for you. It's so cool. It's so I again, sorry for the noise in the background. I have a family event going on, but Misophobics is a graphic novel I've been working on. 10 is a little bit long, but like it originally started off as some really weird high school in my like notebook, and then in team I started posting it as like this little mini comic on Instagram, and and then in 2019, style kind of evolved, and it just kind of gained more and more traction, and I took a little bit of a break after that. So Phobics was originally about two serial killers, totally have this character named Dean. He's this really tall guy, 7 feet tall, with a gape, and he has his sidekick, who's his brother Scott. And yeah, it was about serial killers, and it was kind of like a little bit of where they abduct this kid named Cleo, and Cleo has to escape this complex that they all live in. And yeah, that was the original concept. 2021, I got this intern in Adam, and they were mentoring me through and evolving the concept to what it was originally. And the story evolved more from graphic violence into about loneliness, and making it more of a collective experience, focusing on two creepy characters. So loneliness, and about how it's a feeling that everyone experiences, but it focuses on the main character. His name is Cleo, and he's this incredibly lonely, struggles with it. He lives this really boring job where he works at the grocery store, studies, just repeat for weeks, and it's unbearable for him. And what ends up happening in the story and his challenge is you go to not feel lonely anymore, and to not feel like this person who's just a complete and the story kind of plays with, will you escape loneliness by talking to the wrong people that are dangerous? Will you steal things to not feel lonely, to become family? Will you will you kill someone? So it's towards that severity of escaping from that gin. So Evan and Adam and I have been collaborating and working on this project together, and that's kind of how the comic has evolved. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit about it.
And I'm so sorry. Some of that was kind of breaking up a little bit still, but I think we got most of it. And I think what's been so cool about working with you, and if you guys didn't catch this, so Amba did an internship with us, from her school, and came to us with this, again, kind of very fully formed basic concept for what she had done before, where this might go. And I honestly, I just responded so much to your artwork initially that was like, if we can figure out a way to help you craft this so that people can just see your expression of this world, like that was the just immediate kind of like, yes please. And so I want people to go see your work on Instagram, and wherever you tell people to go check out your work, because it really is, it's rare, especially at your age. I certainly was not there in my own, development coming out of art school, or just about to come out of art school, where, I certainly didn't have something that felt so uniquely my own personality, my own style, my own, kind of viewpoint on the world. And you have that. And so, I think being able to help bring that to life in this way, is truly just an honor and a privilege for us. And I can't wait for people to see this, because you could hear it in your description. And I think when we were doing the live stream last night, people responded with like, you hear that, oh, like here's this very well put together attractive young woman who's talking about making this comic, and then you go, and it's about serial killers and loneliness.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's such a, it's magical in a way to have those things go together. So I again, I can't wait for people to see it, and we're very excited to have it on the platform. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's
Very good.
great.
And then finally, and then we'll have a couple minutes to wrap up. But finally, some people know that we have been slowly but surely working on a Moonbirds comic series as well. So I would be negligent to not just mention what's happening with Moonbirds. So for anyone that doesn't know, Moonbirds has become one of the most successful PFP collections in the NFT space. They did a move where they basically took all of the intellectual property and made it CCO, which means anyone can do anything with it. And we had already been thinking about kind of what this universe of Moonbirds might be, kind of what could some story around this collection be, because they certainly have personality, if nothing else, if you're familiar with the collection or if you see the collection. And, it just happened to come to be that, when they made that announcement, we already had some ideas. And so immediately we're just like, okay, we're making a comic of this. Now we don't have to ask anybody to do it. And so, we put that out, and people in the community responded positively to it. And so now they've announced that there is going to be a DAO, which means there's a decentralized organization that's going to start funding projects that are directly connected to Moonbirds. And if they go through that process, the funding is nice, but more importantly, the organization behind the project will actually help to promote and distribute and kind of put more attention behind the project. And so we're now kind of in the process of putting what we need to put together to go through that structure. So no matter what, we will be making a Moonbirds comic and have continued to kind of work on that. But we're also now moving towards getting the kind of official seal of approval as a kind of, official Moonbirds product. So there's some fun, fingers crossed. There are some fun ways that people can participate in this process right now. And, we've got some information about that on Twitter, and you can find out about it in the Macroverse Discord, where you can bring your characters from this world and put them into the Discord. And, we start to try to include them in the story and in the lore as we build it out. But there's a lot of fun to be had in this world. So I just wanted to mention that as something that will also be coming next year at some point. So those are our sneak previews for you. Very excited to talk about, actually just a handful of the projects that are coming, but some of the ones that we're very excited about. And Tiny, I wanted you to be here because, you have been a very vocal and of not only someone that's, kind of taken on the role of really diving in and participating in these, communities and in these projects and, getting yourself a little bit addicted to this writing and creative process and seeing a couple of your stories kind of, move forward a little bit. And one of them in particular that we actually, I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not, but your Dead Town story has an artist waiting for it. We just need to get it wrapped up. Over. There's several more that you've submitted, which are kind of moving along. But I think, it's great to hear from you. And I want to kind of give you the last word here as you look at all of this stuff and you have, some familiarity with, what we're building and how this is all, coming together. Where as a collector, as a fan, as now a participant and a creator in your own right, just where does all of this land for you? Like, where does it fit into the matrix that is Tiny Universe?
Well, I mean, like I said, for me, I don't think like my original intent behind FTs was ever to write or create a comic or anything. I think I was a crypto trader. I was a chart analyst. Like that's what I did, and it was just one of those things that like NFTs were getting so big, it was like, all right, I have to get one. I guess I the first one I got. I mean, it's so funny. I overpaid. I paid like probably a couple $100 in gas because I didn't. I didn't do research. I didn't know what I was doing. I just was going through OpenSea, and I was like, I saw my agent, and I was like, that is the coolest thing on here. Everything else looks so stupid. And I bought it, and I found out it was an abandoned rug pull project like 2 days later. And I feel like that sums up my career right there. So, but no, I think like what it is for me is, I want everybody out there that is the collector or, that maybe even is a flipper, but you know, ends up in a project like Macroverse or something, and maybe only holds a couple. You know, what was so cool to me was being that person that didn't have the writing experience, and you know, like it's just not what I did. I'm a creative person at heart, but it's not what I did. And through the storytelling, which we did, you know, like I said, we did in GSA as a community, and you know, with Ramon and Evan, you know, they actually came up with some spreadsheets and stuff, and just, you know, going through the whole storytelling process, which, you know, people can still come do, and I know there's going to be more. You can still go listen to the ones that we did. You know, I learned how to write a story, how to frame it. I mean, pretty much everything, to the point where, like Evan said, it's been greenlit. I've got edits and stuff I've got to finish. I'll do it eventually, I promise. But you know, I fell in love with it so much. Not only did I do, you know, a second one, and I want to do more, but it's kind of become my passion to you know, essentially go out to every community that I can and try to bring them in, and you know, make them a part of this, because, you know, the ones I love anyway. But I think, like, you know, that this is something that's so big, and it's already touching so many people. There's really no limits to this, and that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, like, just having been through the storytelling and participated, you know, it's just amazing. And I mean, the friendships you make, you just saw it with Bennett and everybody. I mean, it's, like I said, it's more than that for me now. Macroverse is my family. Lady Valor, Matt, Ramon. I mean, there's so many just amazing people, and that's what it is for me. I mean, it's just become a complete lifestyle now.
Well, it occurred to me as you were talking, and I love this. I feel like we need to collectively, creatively come up with a better term. But we talk about people getting pilled into crypto. I think you were already in crypto. We like pilled you into storytelling, which I think is kind of awesome. So I mean, if there's something for me to be proud of, I'm proud of that. Like, that's awesome.
Well, so, and I think too, like, that was my big thing coming in, is like, we've got to educate people. Like, we've got to get everybody. And it's like, we've tried that. It's not as easy as it sounds. Like, you know, I was like, why aren't we going to like comic book places and telling them like they can do it like this? And it's like, no, it's not that easy. They don't want to do that. And I guess
we're doing that this weekend. That's
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's just like I said, I think for me, it's not something that I would have ever, like, you know, stopped what I was doing and been like, I want to write. It's just not, you know, I mean, I had fun writing when I was in school and stuff, but I never did anything with it. And this all started as fun. You know, it was like, who wants to participate in this community lore thing? And I was like, I don't, you know, might as well. I've already invested the money. And then it really, like I said, was just so much fun. I mean, you know, it was something where every single week we were looking forward to the writers' rooms, and I mean, it was something I was doing every day. I woke up ready to do it, and I still do to this day. I mean, I wake up and the first thing I want to do is say good morning to everybody and check in and go from there.
Yeah, and you do, and you're awesome, and so, you know, we so much appreciate your enthusiasm and being a part of all this and joining us today. It's awesome. Where can people find you outside of the Macroverse Discord if they want to connect with you?
Well, obviously, you know, I think most people have said Discord's the easiest, but I'm Tiny Universe everywhere. I think my Twitter is actually Secret Agent Tiny, but you know, Twitter's where I think I'm at mostly, other than Discord. But Discord is where I hang out pretty much all the time, and I'm everywhere. I'm in every community that I can possibly find that is organic and true and passionate, and isn't just there for the quick flip. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like I said, I mean, like what I want is other communities that are just like Macroverse to come together and help this thing expand to be something larger than comic books or PFPs, and just really become this, entire, to me, like an organism. I mean, something that's living and breathing and growing. And I just want, I want everybody to see this and get as excited as I am.
Awesome. We're on the same page there. Ramal, tell us where people can find you and connect with you.
You can find me pretty much my name everywhere. RamelSmith.com, at Twitter, Facebook. It's just type my name in and I pop up. But while I'm here, before I go,
yes, please.
I'm going to ask the question that everyone wants to ask. When do we get the digital pools PFPs?
I was debating whether or not we were going to mention that tonight. So, we showed a preview of the platform earlier today, and these things are all becoming interconnected. If you've been in the Macroverse Discord, you've seen previews of the character collection or PFPs for digital pools, and you guys knocked it out of the park. It's actually painful not to have already put them out because they're so cool. And if I'm saying that, then I know Matt and Alex feel it 100 times more. So it will be early next year. It will be coordinated somewhere around the launch of the first collection with the comics. And probably the comics will come first and then the characters, but that window will probably be a little closer than it has been for Dead Town, for sure. So I'll use the Pixel Vault answer and say soon, but that will be the real answer. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. All right. Well, Alex, while we're talking about characters in the Digital Pools universe, where do you find this writing creating character named Alex Robnett?
Yeah. Just search me up, robnetstories.eth. That's ETH for the noobs out there not into crypto yet. You can find us there. Also, just search up Dark Web Comics as well. We're on Twitter. We're trying to get coordinated with so many social medias. We're trying to figure out the most efficient way to speak through one voice, which communicates through many different bodies. But we'll get there. Have patience with us. And then Matt is on his own Twitter as well, and we're all usually chiming in on whatever Rommel is like commenting on. We always follow up with that at least within the next day or so. So we're pretty active on there. But yeah, go ahead, Matt. Tell us where you're at too. Oh no! Is he muted? You muted? Oh no. Well, okay, so I can handle it. Matt Stevens is his Twitter handle, so you can search him up too. But again, like we're gonna be talking a lot as we get closer to the release of Digital Pools. We'll be giving more sneak peeks, and I'm sure doing more discussions like this with Evan and crew. And thanks again for having us on. We really appreciate it.
100%. And if you download the Macroverse mobile app from on iOS or Android right now, you'll also get a sneak peek at the first episode of Digital Pools in the Macroverse format. So that is up there as well. Barrington, where do we find you? Oh, muted.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Am muted, and now I'm unmuted. My my social media presence is sporadic, but I'm on Twitter at Barrington SS. I think like my Insta is Barrington Smith C. I have at barringtonsmith.com. I have kind of an old school blog. It's about 1/3 talking about writing and craft, and 2/3 like teenage life journal from the early aughts. So if you're into that, you can
I am so into that.
I gotta find that.
Now I gotta read that.
That's amazing. Awesome. Thank you for telling us that. I think everyone has their evening planned. Hoyt, where do people find you?
I am Hoyt Silva on Twitter, and I am at the Hoyt on Instagram. I also have a HoytSilva.com, but it's a lot of the stuff you'll see on those social media sites too. So
Also, a Live Journal blog from the
Yeah, no, I don't. Now that Barrington said something, now I think I need a hobby I'm going to start up here. You know, like I'm gonna for sure. That's the right route, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah, and check out for all of the artists here. I mean, check out everybody and follow everybody. But for Hoyt, for Matt, for Amba, you guys go get a peek at what their artwork looks like, because it's all fantastic. I also did want to quickly shout out that Matt also did short stories for the Bushido's anthology series, which is also coming out early next year, the Deadtown anthology series, which will be out next year, and as you saw, the color work for the GSA for the illustrated lore, which will also be out sometime very early next year, if not before. That one might actually hit a little bit earlier. So I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for being here. We just enjoy the hell out of you all. And it really is so fun for us to be able to play and build these things together. So just really appreciate you being with us now and being with us making these different things. Can't wait for people to see more of it. We get the privilege to see it way early before everybody else, so as we start to unleash it upon the world, I think it's going to be a lot of fun for everyone to kind of catch up to the stuff that we get to see while we make it, which is very, very cool. So again, thank you all so much. Go ahead.
Hey, Evan, this has been eating me alive. I love it. Keep him up. Keep Matt Stevens up. It looks like he's got like two creepy little monsters.
Yeah, it does look like that. Yeah, I saw that earlier too. I was like, is there something in his cabinet? And I was like, no, that's like some light from something. But it definitely thought the same.
The whole time I've been like trying not to interrupt and be like, hey, look at these creepy guys looking in behind them.
Well, there is no better way to end than that. Matt, watch your back, man. And we are going to jump directly into the final stream of the day, which is going to be, for those of you that are interested in the collectible editions of the first round of Macroverse Epics, the drop details are coming up in this final panel of the day. And then we will be hanging out in the Macroverse Discord, which is discord.gg/Macroverse for anyone that wants to come in and chat about the weekend or ask questions or just hang out, because it's an awesome community. So that's where we'll be right after we wrap up with all of the info about how to add hands on this first Epic collection, which is coming out, as you're about to find out, very soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate